Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is a 1968 film about a magical car, based on the children's novel by Ian Fleming. Better known for his James Bond novels, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang would be his last book before he died in 1964, or a series of books, as it was initially published as 3 volumes, using the same sort of character naming conventions he used in the Bond films.
Truly scrumptious. You know, even if we didn't know your name, we could have guessed it.
And the movie shows influences of its screenplay writer, Roald Dahl. The story centers around a struggling inventor whose inventions tend to backfire, causing more problems than helping. But in spite of some setbacks, he manages to make enough money to buy an old wrecked race car, and he builds it into something with a unique set of abilities, leading to a series of adventures. In both the book and the movie, the race car is a one-of-one Paragon Panther that uses an 8-liter supercharged 12-cylinder.
No, not yet.
And is crashed to later become Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. The book very clearly claimed the car was magical, but the movie more implies it, as the magic being part of a fantasy story being told by the main character, Caractacus Potts, played by Dick Van Dyke, as would be expected based on the nature of the film. Most of the abilities are similar between the book and the movie, although the circumstances around when they are used are a bit different. The exception being that the car in the book communicates directly with Potts to tell him how to activate the different abilities. Where in the movie, although Potts is the builder, the car seems to simply react to his needs, much to his surprise. The movie starts with a series of Grand Prix races running from 1907 to 1909, with the car winning 3 times. But in the 4th, it swerves to miss a child and dog, only to crash and burn and be abandoned, to become little more than a children's toy for Jemima and Jeremy Potts.
Hang on, we're coming to a bend. You're going too far.
But when it's being sold for scrap,
I'm going to put her in a fiery furnace, and we're going to melt her down till she's liquid iron. That's what we're going to do with her.
the children convince their father to purchase it.
I know. Daddy will buy it for us, won't he, Jemima? Of course he will.
But not before running out in front of the car of the heroine, truly scrumptious, causing a bit of an accident,
Well, that's a clever thing to do.
and leading to the introduction of the parties involved, including all the eccentric Potts family members.
Oh, the posh travelling life for me.
When Truly and the children arrive at the Potts castle,
Well, it isn't a castle exactly. That's what Daddy calls it.
just in time to witness a failed rocket pack launch. And perhaps not starting things off on the best of terms.
Thank you.
But we do get introduced to a number of his inventions, including a vacuum cleaner,
Little invention of mine, and away with dirty cartons.
movie broadcaster,
Eventually, I hope to transmit moving pictures by wireless.
and a candy manufacturing machine that makes whistling sweets,
And is this one of the sweets?
Yes, it is.
which he attempts to sell to the local candy-making lord to get money to buy the car, who, as it turns out, just happens to be the father of Lady Scrumptious, and she actually seems to be on Potts' side. Unfortunately, the candy whistles attract dogs, which seems to cause the deal to fall through. He then attempts to sell a haircut machine at a local fair,
Well, I lower this hair cutting machine.
but the demonstration goes unexpectedly wrong, and Mr. Potts is lucky to escape uninjured. But with a bit of a song and dance show, he's able to pull the money together and bring home the car, using all the horsepower he can muster, to close himself up in his workshop with it,
Edison, that's it. Keep coming. Good. Whoa!
Whoa!
That's
using whatever he can find around the house to rebuild it. He finishes it after days and days,
But Daddy said the car would be finished today.
Darling, you'll be waiting a month of Sundays before he's finished that.
which the book says took 3 months. Once the car is finished being built, he takes his two children on a picnic,
How about a picnic? All right, well then let's get cracking.
naming the car along the way after the sounds it makes. He also takes along Truly, after running her off the road yet again and having to rescue her. During the picnic, he begins to tell the story of Baron Bombburst of Bulgaria, played by Gert Frobe, the classic German villain, perhaps best known as Goldfinger.
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
And in this case, a tyrant who tries to steal the car for himself, or his wife. And unnoticed by the picnickers, the tide comes in, threatening to swamp the car, just as the Baron appears in a vessel of his own. While frantically attempting to start the car, it transforms into a boat, or inflatable raft, allowing them to speed away, leading a merry chase on the sea, as cannons are fired in their direction. But the much more maneuverable Chitty Chitty Bang Bang easily avoids them and soon returns to shore, where it quickly deflates and is able to drive away safely, and causes the Baron's boat to become grounded. So then the Baron sends a pair of spies to steal the car, and things turn a bit Looney Tunes from there. They attempt to stop the car by blowing up a bridge, which blows up in their face.
Get ready! Fire!
Then they set up a trap under another bridge, and get the wrong car. So after failing to steal the car,
Baboons have some explanation for this outrage.
they decide to try to capture the inventor, once again bumbling the job and capturing Grandpa Potts instead, using a steampunk radio to call in a Zeppelin and carry Grandpa off in his hut/laboratory. But they are spotted by Truly and the Pottses as they are returning from their picnic, so they attempt to give chase off a cliff. But naturally, the car can fly, and although they lose sight of their quarry, the car knows the way to a very Disney-looking castle protected by cannons, forcing them to land outside a nearby village. A village where the Baroness has outlawed children because she's afraid of them, and she then sends out a child catcher to find them, forcing the main party to hide in the toy maker's shop, who makes toys for the Baron, the toy maker being played by Benny Hill. But the child catcher lures the children out and into a van using candy, leading Potts and Scrumptious to sneak into the castle disguised as giant toys, and using the hidden children of the village to start a revolution and deposing of the Baron, with the car coming into the battle to collect the crew and fly them back home, where the fantasy story ends, putting everyone back on the beach where it started, soon to be followed by a happy ending where the boy gets the girl and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang flies off. The Chitty Chitty Bang Bang book was inspired by an actual race car, also known as Chitty Bang Bang, or Chitty 1. The car is from the 1920s, using a 6-cylinder overhead 4-valve Zeppelin Maybach Aero engine with dual carbs, on a modified pre-war Mercedes chassis. It weighed 4.5 tons, and the hood was more than 8 feet long. It saw a number of iterations and racing successes before being crashed and sold. The book version, however, was described as using an 8-liter supercharged 12-cylinder, and it used a Gen 11 or Genie license that was also used on the primary movie car. There were 8 cars made for the film, with the 2 running ones using Ford 3-liter Essek V6s. Although one was reportedly to be narrower than the other, they were roughly 210 inches long and weighed about 3,600 pounds. The third car didn't have an engine and sat on a trailer for close-up shots, but would later be purchased and made into a fully running car. And although it had fold-out wings, there was a special car built specifically for the flying scenes. It included fold-out propellers and would be used for most of the movie's promotional photos. There was also a version for scenes that involved the full car sitting in water. It was made with several aluminum components to help protect it from the salt water, and its lighter weight made it easier to lift, so it was used in many scenes where it transformed. The boat version was not so much a vehicle that was made, but was a frameless empty shell that was placed over a remote control speedboat, and then disassembled after filming. The Paragon Panther No. 3 car used in the racing scenes at the beginning of the film still exists in the Liberace Garage Museum, while the crashed version of the car, that was dragged off to become Chitty Chitty Bang Bang in the movie, would also later be purchased and converted into a full Chitty Chitty Bang Bang car. And of course there have been several replicas built, both by private owners and for stage productions of the show. Of course there are other cars of interest in the movie, including Truly's 1908 Humber, the 1912 Austro-Daimler Prince Henry belonging to Lord Scrumptious, and the 1914 Panhard et Levasseur, used in a number of scenes, as well as the handful of other race cars. The movie is a musical and can be a bit silly for mature audiences, and there are some bits that might raise eyebrows for a children's movie. But I liked it as a child, and it has certainly had its influence on pop culture. So as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment below and like and subscribe.